Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Infor XA, Enterprise Financials, and Financial Reporter 9, hosted by Barry Waymiller Design Group. Design Group offers engineering, IT consulting, and technical services. True to our heritage, Design Group is focused on manufacturing. Over 1,500 professionals across 45 plus offices worldwide bring extensive industry experience to every project. Our client list ranges from some of the best known industrial manufacturers, life sciences, food and beverage, high tech, and consumer product brands in the world to startups that have the next great product. And we are an Infor partner focused on a variety of enterprise manufacturing solutions, including ERP, WMS, CPQ, and EAM. My name is Scott Cargill, Director at Barry Waymiller Design Group, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Our presenter today is Joel Uribe, Lead Financial Business Analyst at Barry Waymiller Design Group. Joel has been with Barry Waymiller Design Group for nearly 10 years, and he has over 25 years of finance and accounting experience across multiple industries. Joel has worked as the ERP financial subject matter expert on over 100 ERP projects, and he has worked with Infor XA product for over 20 years. Joel is multilingual and has worked on various XA projects all over the world, giving him a deep and broad understanding of operations, administration, localization, and financial reporting requirements, including financial consolidation. During today's webinar, we will provide an overview of the newest financial suite for Infor XA, including Enterprise Accounts Receivable, Enterprise Accounts Payable, and Enterprise General Ledger. Joel will highlight how Infor's eFinancial Suite will allow your business to better align to accounting best practices, bring automation to your business processes, and improve the overall user experience with a much improved and user-friendly interface. Joel will touch on things like advanced account structure that matches your organization accounting needs, leading to faster decision-making, or eFinancial's ability to span across a global business with multi-currency capabilities. We will also showcase the eFinancial's preferred financial reporting tool known as F9. You will learn how F9 is a simple Microsoft Excel-based tool that extracts data directly from your general ledger, allowing you to generate financial statements without having to log into your ERP, extract data, and then import that data into some other system. I recall seeing an Infor marketing tagline a while back that stated, "If you know Excel, you know F9." We will have a Q&A session at the end of our presentation. However, you can record your questions in advance of this session by entering your question into the Q&A text box located in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Okay, enough with the introductions. So let's hand this over to Joel and get started. Joel, it's all yours.
Thanks, Scott, for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. Hello, thank you for attending this webinar. We're going to introduce you to this Enterprise Financial Suite, but we cannot talk about Enterprise Financials without talking about the accounting systems evolution at Infor XA. As you all know, and you are aware of the account management system and IFM that only runs in green screen, but now we're talking about an Enterprise Financials that is completely the other way around. It doesn't run over green screen. Instead, it runs over the graphical user interface, meaning PowerLink. You have an interface for account management, but basically it's the same program you're running in green screen. Now it's just enabled to the PowerLink. Enterprise Financials, on the other hand, takes the basis of IFM, the best of IFM world, and converts that into the graphical user interface. Infor has developed this interface to be more friendly. It has improved a lot of processes, so you can, instead of going through multiple screens on IFM, you can use just a right click and basically call for the same process in a better and simpler way to do it. This evolution has a significant difference among the accounting systems. As you know, and if you're familiar and you have an account management system in your company, you are well aware that the GL single account field is sometimes not enough to handle your accounting number. So IFM came in the world to modify that, improve it by creating two different dimensions. IFM comes with a unit and a nature that allows you to separate your departments from your main expense account, sort of saying, and you can handle your accounting better, but also improve the process for AR and AP. Enterprise Financials consider not only that, but I have faced myself implementations where your accounting needs actually require more than 2 dimensions, and sometimes we end up putting 2 dimensions in the unit and another 2 or 3 dimensions on the nature side, with the accounting side. So Enterprise Financials, whatever that, is providing now a different accounting system that contains up to 14 different segments. We're talking about 14 different dimensions that you could use. You don't have to use them all. You can actually use only one that is actually 15 characters long, same as account management, and just mimic whatever you have in your account management system today. Also, you can use 2 dimensions and replicate whatever you have in IFM, but you can go up to 14. So far, I have seen the need is always 5, 6, and sometimes 7 different dimensions to include not only the account number, but the company, a sub-branch, a location, customer project, product family, if you want to transfer the product family and product code sometimes to the accounting. Maybe product code individually is too much, but product family, item class, item accounting class sometimes, that could be mapped into the GL accounting string. So that from the GL standpoint is absolutely not even compatible to the other 2 systems you had before. On top of that, Enterprise AR and Enterprise AP offers you unique solutions that we're about to discuss in the next slides and talk to you. I will be able to also show you a kind of recording that shows you the unique features that makes Enterprise AR and Enterprise AP unique in this Infor XA world. From the enterprise AR, very similar way that you had IFM before, you can allocate automatically your cash, but this time using PowerLink. So this feature allows you to allocate your cash receipt in a better way, in a more simple way, and not only user-friendly, but very intuitive interface. If you have some other systems that produce your invoices, for example, you can connect those systems results and import those transactions into the Enterprise AR application for Enterprise Financials. So the legacy system bridge development you had for IFM is being replicated to produce transactions into Enterprise Financials. So you can connect not only external AR transactions, but also external AP and external GL transactions as well. Some of the processes that you used to run manually, now they are run overnight, so you don't have to worry about it, such as credit limit calculation and comparison against your current orders and invoices. And also some other processes like generate statements or print an aging statement for a specific customer are now ready in PowerLink, so you can go direct to the host job and click on it to get your statements out of a system in a very easy way. One of the unique things we have for accounts payable on the enterprise side is the way to generate vouchers. In this procurement to pay business cycle, you have receipts, item receipts related to a purchase order that we needed to voucher by selecting the order, then selecting the items, and it was a very long way to produce your voucher, your AP invoice in the system. Now there's a new object that holds all the item receipt that comes from a purchase order, so you can easily go to that listing, select them all, and or some of them, depending on your subset, and generate the voucher out of that. Of course, if your true paper invoice is different in price, you still have to adjust it to match and provide the system with enough information to run the three-way match. But if the match is there, then you have no further actions to do different from selecting the receipts and generate the invoice with a click of a button. In the host jobs, you have now the way to generate those invoices. And if you review and the amount is correct, then you're ready to post and can continue. The automatic expense distribution that we used to have in the past is being improved here. So now you have to call just for a predefined distribution list and include that into your AP invoice. And the system will automatically distribute all of those expenses into multiple accounts. It could be by head count or by percentage. You define what you want to distribute. And then as soon as you call for that list name into the AP invoice, the system will take care of the expense distribution automatically. And even better, the payment list generation, including the check printing, is in the host job also. So you can select from your amounts due on the screen, either create a subset, or on the screen you can use your control button and the mouse to select multiple invoices depending on your criteria. As soon as you have your selection, then the host job will generate the payment list, will extract the money out of the cash book, and will also generate the transaction and get them posted, including the GL posting journal and also the check printing right away, all at once, just from the host job. So these programs from Enterprise AP are very similar to previous programs in AM and IFM, but now they're improved because since we're using a graphical user interface, we have everything at hand. How does it look like? Now that we have all of these postings already in the system, you might be willing to see your journal produced by the sales today. So we got some of the sales inquiry. Now let me show you. Let's take a glance on how this look like. So these new objects under finance, the journal listing, you have some of the transactions on the screen right now. From wherever you have a subsystem origin options, either AP, AR, or in this case sales, you can open your financial journal details. And if you want to continue drilling down on that transaction, it will take you back to the source. So just to check a simple invoice and the debits and credits is not only easy, but also is connected to the source of the system. So traceability continues to be there. Let me show you how to allocate some of the cash receipts. This object, cash transactions, allows you to put the money in and then make the distribution right away just by either selecting or letting the system apply the cash considering the due date. So it will start from the oldest one and then move to the newest until you are out of cash. Or you can just open the cash book and then enter the money like we're doing right now on the screen. Put the details on top, the cash information in the middle, and then you have the available or open invoices at the bottom from where you can select one or multiple or one by one, and then use the button to allocate that is now on the right. So you can select them and then allocate the money, and if you want or if you need, you can use a discount right away. You don't have, the system will give you the automatic calculation, but you can also modify that on the fly until you are running out of cash. I mean, until you allocate everything. So your remaining to allocate is 0. And maybe you complete the information and then we're done. How do you generate the aging? The aging used to be another process that runs overnight, and now we have the control of it by running a host job. This result out of a aging calculation now goes to a different object. So in this case, you can calculate on demand your aging, and the results could be reviewed right away. You don't even have to print it. No need to take it to the paper for real. As soon as you run the aging, based on certain criteria like selecting a specific ledger only, even a specific entity if you want. And as soon as you run the process, you have the balances available in this other object called amount due aging period balances, from where you can see by entity, by ledger, and you can also evaluate the aging period, how due it is. And where is this period ending? So you make sure that you are using the correct periods. And then you're ready. You can either extract this to Excel or print this out. Statements, at the end of the month, if you still deliver these statements to your customers, you have this availability on the AR personal accounts. You can go to host jobs and also run very similar to the aging, but now you're going to actually print to your spool file some of the statements, and then you can have it delivered. Information to deliver is in the system. So what we have worked with some of the customers is we actually take this printout and use the email stored in there, and we create a program to deliver that automatically. So the statements are actually sent to the correct distribution list. Okay. Of course, Enterprise AP, now let's talk about Enterprise AP. Enterprise AP, after we generate the invoices, you may need to enter a manual voucher that is not related or associated with purchase orders. You still have this transaction available to be created over the AP transactions object, where you have these white sheets on top always to create a new voucher, a new AP invoice. And if you have created the one already and you need to add an expense or a charge, or even replace the GL account that you use, maybe there's an automatic charge made to an account, expense account, you can override that with the new chart of accounts. Now you have an example of how this chart of accounts will look like you could use up to 14 different segments. Once you select the chart of accounts, you have the ones that are defined for this specific COA, like these 4 segments for this example. As soon as you provide the new one and you click continue, then this transaction will no longer go to the default account. It can go to a different account, department, and expense. And once we complete this, then it's ready to post. Validation is still there, post is still there. What is not available there, no longer available, is the expansion. Nobody really used that one from IFM, the expansion, but so validate and post. To create a payment list, as I mentioned before, you have the amounts due or invoices ready on this object called AP amounts due, or settlement invoices if you wish, from where you can select one or multiple invoices to be paid. And then we run the host jobs from file on top. We made our selections of the cash book name, and then maybe the currency. Sometimes we have to pay in a different currency. As soon as you click submit, you will print or generate the payment list. In this case, I'm avoiding to print the checks right away. I just want the system to automatically generate transactions because I want to have control on the check number we're going to use. So payment list object is now on the right. As soon as you open that object, you have your new payment list on top. And then you decide to print or reprint checks if your printout went bad to the printer, maybe the paper got broken. So you can also reprint. You provide your first check number and you're ready to continue. As soon as you click continue, you will be listening to your printer working with the correct checks. So in just two simple steps, you have your payment list and checks already printed. Now that we have reviewed some of the features for AP and AR, I think one of the biggest one is Enterprise General Ledger, not only because of the accounting string, but also there are some unique features that makes EGL not only powerful, but very suitable to your company accounting needs. One of them is the trial balance being ready at all times. There is a new object in the system to check the ledger balance summary. And this object contains not only the balances for this month, but as soon as you post something into your, let's say, January period, the system automatically copies or rolls that balance forward to the following periods, meaning that if you make a trial balance as in January, and then you check the trial balance for August this year, the August will be still balanced because the balances are getting copied across all the periods. So you never have a missing account in a period. In the past, we used to have a trial balance, but if you didn't have movement for a specific account, that particular account was missing from the trial balance, then sometimes it was not balanced in zero. EGL is always balanced. So no matter if you have transactions in January, February, March, and you are extracting your trial balance for March and you didn't post to a specific account in February, your March trial balance keeps on balance. So your trial balance available in PowerLink also allows you to generate reports out of the system. It's available in one single object where you can extract still and paste it into Excel if needed. The soft closing period remains there, but now it's becoming a flag. It's no longer a process. It's just a simple flag that you check or uncheck to say if the period is open. In addition, you have control over the whole year. So maybe you don't want to close period by period, but now you know you are no longer posting to 2020. Then you go to the whole book and close the book so nobody can post any longer into that specific period. So it's very simple, and you don't have to reprocess. If you reopen a period and post a new journal, that automatically pushes all the balances forward, so you don't have to reprocess anything to close the month again. It's automatically rolled over, so your balances in the forwarding periods are always up to date. It's connected with Excel, so I have heard from some of you, of course, we have worked together in the past. We need a tool to upload my workout in Excel that is converted into a journal. I want that to be in the system. How do I do it? And it's always cumbersome because we have to run multiple transfer, multiple files. Well, EGL provides you with an Excel template that you just complete with the accounting string, the company, the values for the debits and the credits, and of course, additional information like references and description. And then with a click of a button, the system will create the journal into EGL PowerLink. This template is provided, is automatically given with the installation of EGL, and you don't have to adjust it. You can rename the labels in case you want to use different account numbers or different labels for your segments. You can modify that. The system will continue to work. As soon as you have the information available, just on top you have a validation button that will tell you and will give you the diagnostics, and also it will give you the result and the generation of a journal. And if everything is okay, it will automatically post into your system. One of the unique features of Enterprise General Ledger is that it's not only multi-country and multi-currency, but also multi-systems, meaning um, in different countries, we have different gap premises that we have to comply to. The government requires a specific way to post. I have faced that myself, particularly in Europe, they have a unique way to produce journals. So EGL will take one of the events, meaning one of the transactions in the ERP applications. Let's put inventory as an example. As soon as you receive a transaction into inventory system, EGL is capable to produce 2 or more journals at the same time. One journal that complies with the US GAAP, and another journal that complies with the, let's say, German GAAP, and they will put the information and post into different ledgers. So whenever you require information out of a US ledger, it's always up to date and following the correct procedure to post the journals, as well as if you open the German ledger, all the information there will be according to the government regulations for that specific country. So we call this event or transaction in the EGL world. And as soon as one of the transactions events gets generated, you decide how many journals and how do you want those journals to be. Well, you define the debits and the credit, and we can do that, this financial journal modeling, through something introduced called macros. So a macro is nothing but a label for multiple, I'm talking about thousands of fields across the ERP applications that you can pull to generate your journal. In the past, we used to have an interface, a GL interface that had a limited number of fields that you can use, 10, 15, maybe, depending on the application. With this one, you have thousands of fields available. So you can make your account dependable on, for example, your customer location. You can use a different account just by basing your customer location, or you can use the purchase order class. If you win, then those kind of fields are not in the interface, but now they are reachable through this financial journal modeling through Enterprise General Ledger. So you can design the perfect journal you wanted to have. This provides you with a better a match to your accounting needs in your company. And not only for one journal, but multiple journals, multiple ledgers, and multi-currency. Eventually, we may need to do the consolidation, but that's a separate topic, of course. Even better, this journal that you just generated could contain the reference you really need. Most of the systems are predefining what the information reference is. So you always have the same information for no matter what the transaction is coming from, or no matter what the information is for that. But in this one, you have around 8 to 10 different reference fields where you can define what you want to see for reference 1, reference 2, etc. Meaning you can bring information that is not even included in the ERP, let's say a importing data number, or something like the project number that is not maybe inserted into the accounting. You can bring all the references you want into your journal. You can define not only the debits and credit, but also the information reference that you want to carry over with your journal definition. On top of that, if you're having multiple journals and they are all in errors, you don't have to go through one by one to review what the errors are. The system comes with this diagnostic monitor that gives you an object into PowerLink where you can get into the object and see what the errors are for multiple journals at the same time. Maybe you have 20 of them failing, and when you go to this monitor, you find out that it's actually the same error all over, and the error is period is closed. So you just have to open the period and reprocess the 20 of them. You don't have to go one by one as we used to have. This doesn't mean that the system EGL is no longer connected to the system. It's the other way around. It continues to have strong links with the ERP applications such as inventory or materials management, COM or customer service management, all the production applications, enterprise AP, and even enterprise AR, meaning even Enterprise AP provides enough information to generate a specific journal or multiple journals as well. It doesn't mean that the AP and EAR is not included into the EGL futures, the other way around. They are completely connected, so depending on your AP invoice, you could also generate multiple journals if needed. And basically, based on your financial modeling, you will decide the accounts to be used not only from the AP information. AP contains some of the information, but there are some other qualifying fields that you can use to generate your new journal. This is the way it looks like. So what I have on the screen on the top right is a journal that is open. For some reason, it's not posted. Maybe the period is closed. You can see the account, the reason codes, the debits and the credits for the transaction amount. I mean, the transaction currency, but also the local currency on the book side. What I have on the right at the bottom is actually the template that Infor provides to upload information from EGL. You can see there are 3 rows inserted there with debits and credits and the segments in the center area. That includes the company 17 location like Baltimore, departments like administration, then the account expense. All of the dimensions are there. You can fill the other ones up with zeros or just leave them blank. And if this upload doesn't work for any reason, you will get the diagnostics at the bottom on your right. You can see those red lines that indicates what the problem is. Sometimes it's just connections. For some reason, maybe your connection to the system is not working. Maybe you are not even connected to internet. Whatever problems that they are, the line errors will show you the diagnostics right away. So on the top, we have some buttons. One of them is upload, validate and then upload. And then the system will return these line errors if needed on the Excel template. Using this template, you don't even have to open PowerLink. You generate other spreadsheets that calculate your journal, and you can use formulas into this column PQR and S to pull those values in, and then just click on the top with the add-in that EGL put in, and upload this information as a journal. The information is now in the system. How can we check the balances? So this object ledger book balance summary will provide you with information to review your balances. You can make a subset by ledger, by book, by year, all of them combined at once. You will see the opening balances on the screen, as well as the debits and the credits and the final balance for each one of the accounts and periods. So normally we search by year, but also sometimes we make a specific review by period. So you see that column number 4 is a period. You don't see a January to February, but you see the period number, because sometimes our fiscal year doesn't run from January to December, it runs from April to March, for example. And you can still export the information directly into Excel. We're going to let this work for F9, but for the time being, I just wanted to mention that you can still extract information out of the EGL ledger balance summary object and put them into Excel for a quick review or analysis. Let me show you how easy it's to close a period, not for only one ledger. In the past, we used to, we have the need to close period by period for each one of the ledgers we had open. Now you have the full control, depending on the fiscal year you're running. You have those periods numbers to the right, and then you select a specific period and change the posting status at the bottom. No events means closed. Now we have some stages in the middle, like it's closed, but you can still allow the reversal from previous month, or it's closed, but you can still post from subsystems, meaning, yes, nobody can enter more transactions for AP, AR, or GL, but if somebody produces a sales invoice, we can still get that posted. So there are some like 2 stages in the middle, different from close or open. So it's just a flag that indicates if the period is closed or open. If we close this period, none of the ledgers and none of the currencies will post anymore. And I mentioned the interface continues to be enabled if you want to continue using it. So the inventory GL transaction is a good example of it. We have an icon, an object that is the inventory transactions. You select all the transactions that you have received, and then you send them through the host jobs to convert this information into a journal. So the system is prepared with a program that takes information out of inventory and produce a journal right away. So as soon as you see that column that indicates EGL is already there, then that means we can move to the other object called financial journal entries and review the journal that the system generated for us. It's no longer an accounting rule, but it's a journal definition. It's a financial journal modeling that provides us with this journal and what the debit and credit will be. So if you see your journal on the screen and you right click on it and display the journal entry lines, you will see the detail generated by this financial modeling. So you see one debit and 2 credits in this example. And if I double click on the first line, you will see even further details, continue drilling down on the journal. So now we have 4 different levels to review the information, meaning I would like to just explain these 4 different levels. So the top level will be the event. The next level down is one single journal. The following level is actually the journal lines, and then the detail lines that may be hundreds of lines supporting one of the debits or supporting one of the credits in the previous. So now we have these 4 different levels of information into each one of the journals. By now, you all should be interested in, okay, sounds like we could migrate our account management system or IFM system. How do we migrate this into into enterprise financials? First of all, enterprise financials could be implemented even if you don't have any of the others. So enterprise financial will continue to work. But if you're coming from account management, Infor provides a migration tool that is available out there. Depending if you want to migrate AP and AR, or if you want to migrate general ledger only, for example, there are some tools that allows you to do that. So what do you need? Well, is the software. As soon as you get the software for the migration tools and you apply it, the system will walk you through step by step to accommodate not only your needs, but also the way you want to convert your account, the way you want to convert your customers or your vendors, also periods. I mean, multiple questions that walk you through how do you want enterprise financials to be defined. And if you run this tool, yeah, it's just a matter of a few hours to get this done, and then you will have a new environment ready for enterprise general ledger. But I have to tell you that this will not give you the chance to clean up your customers, your vendors, your maybe to re-engineer your chart of accounts. Yes, we can take your account management account number, for example, 15 characters long, and split that in 3 or 4 different dimensions, but it will be a fixed number of characters, and it will be converted and generate your new chart of accounts. It's not really giving you the chance to re-engineer and say that now your account receivable starts in 200 instead of 100, or I mean, re-engineering your chart of accounts that complies with multiple branches, maybe a worldwide chart of accounts. Sometimes we struggle once you have a company that has grown up and now you have different branches. The chart of accounts becomes a challenge because none of the accounts are mapped to each other, and to consolidate them is always very hard work every month. So if you use these tools, you have a chance to convert information properly, yes, and you will get this enterprise financial environment ready in just a few hours. But you are not having all the availability of the features in the enterprise financial suite to give you a better business process that maps your accounting needs and process in a better way, in an easier way, and in a user-friendly way. So it's something for you to consider. IFM, I understand there's also migration tools for IFM that takes IFM through the same process and converts the IFM environment into an enterprise financials environment. There are some releases out there like the 9.2 that includes the enterprise financials programs, but they need to be activated and enabled through the usage of a license key, of course. We have one of the tools that is one of our favorite to extract accounting information out of a system, either account management or IFM, even enterprise general ledger. F9 tool has been upgraded from version 5 to version 6 now, and is our preferred tool to extract information out of EGL suite because it's ready to work and gives you an interface that allows you to use Excel in the same way you are using it today, with the addition that you have formulas that pull information out of your accounting balances, and not only the balances but also the transactions if needed. So the drill down capabilities are there. You produce your Excel report and then you are pulling information out of the system using some formulas. Therefore, next month you don't have to redo your report. You just refresh your report and you're ready to continue with the new month. You can make comparisons from period to period, year to year. You can add some other tools to the screen to make it more functional, more dynamic, and F9 continues to be in Excel. So if you're familiar with Excel, Microsoft Excel, then you know how to use F9 because you can create graphs, you can create comparisons side by side, consolidations as well. So It's giving you a great tool. Actually, it comes with a wizard that allows you to create reports in a more simple way. Because EGL, yes, is providing you with the trial balance on the screen, but that's not enough. We have to create or generate multiple financial statements. So F9 is the perfect complement to EGL to produce this monthly reporting package. This is an example how you will see F9 once it's ready, and by the middle of the screen you can see those slicers or buttons that you can enable or disable, and as soon as you click on it, the information on the bars will change dynamically, meaning that you want to exclude the telephone expense, for example. Then you click on telephone, it will become white instead of blue, and that information will be automatically excluded from the information reported from column A to F. So these slicers is a new addition from version 6. Also, you can include or exclude years, the next slicer over there. And not only that, you can use all the segments that you have in your accounting string to produce slicers and make this analysis more dynamic. It's always linked to data. You can produce a report, in this case, the income statement, and the formula that you have up there, right above the F9 label. You can see the formula is actually pulling some specific data from the database. These controls on the left, the column B and C, provides you with a criteria to produce this statement. It could be 2018, but you can easily switch to 2019 just by switching that column C4 to 2019, and it would be dynamic. It's a great improvement from version 6 because even from version 5, you had to create a database in the middle, in the green screen, I mean, in the WIS 400. You had to create a mirror library that puts a copy of accounting information, and then F9 used to extract it out of there. No longer. Now it's reading directly from the EGL database with no library in the middle. If you decide to create your accounting string in EGL, including some description for product line, product B, then you are able to produce this kind of sales report by product. So we have to consider this kind of reporting. We have to consider the end of the line to re-engineer our chart of accounts. A trial balance with details that work not only by period, because sometimes our period starts on a Monday and always ends on a Saturday, for example. Maybe for government reports, we have to use a report that runs from day 1 to day 31st. Therefore, you have this transaction date reporting using date ranges that are not really mapping our period. You still have that ability. Once you install F9, it comes with certain tools with the installation. The drill down of the viewer definitely are one of the most used. It comes with budgeting. It's a multi-currency reporting. Even if you don't have it on your ERP, F9 is capable to produce reporting in a different currency and consolidate with multiple companies. You can create pivot tables without the need to create the reports initially. You just make the definition. There is a wizard that walks you through the steps to create a pivot table without the need to create any report, just directly to the pivot table. Dashboards, report scheduling. This one is very interesting because now you used to have the task scheduler that produces reports. Now you can also deliver them to the distribution list. So you schedule certain kind of reports, certain listing to produce report viewers and have it delivered to your distribution list. This one works automatically as soon as you define the scheduling hub, which is one of the new features in F9 version 6. These are the new features. If you're familiar with F9, maybe you are well aware of the version 5 features, but there are some improvements to version 6. I think I can highlight a couple of them. One is the speed. F9 becomes a little slower when you have multiple years, multiple company coming all into one single report. With these new features, it's really fast. As I said, there is no database in the middle, so it's working faster. Security is being improved as well. The software updates are running through the same application. Licensing process is just a click on the screen to automate your activation of product. I mean, a lot of capabilities that are a great improvement for version 6. The report writer and viewer, you're familiar with the writer definitely, but the viewer, now that we have distributed reports across the company, some of the user may not need to change anything in the report. So the viewer allows you to get this information, this report already made, and still navigate through it, collapse or expand certain information, even drill down to the transaction source, without the need to change it. So the viewer is actually something we can install in multiple computers, dozens of them, not necessarily the grider. Some features that were added to the report writer, like the insert function, the refresh. On the refresh area is something I really like because now you can highlight on a specific area on your report and have the recalculate function working only on that area. You don't have to update the whole worksheet. That may take some more time, or even the whole workbook that will take even longer. So the report phrase, let's say you are modifying certain rows while you're building your report and you want to see the results right away, but you don't want to update everything. That may take more time. So now you highlight on a specific range and then just refresh that area. That is really handy for building reports. You can add these drop downs or slicers on the screen as I was showing to you. And multiple ways to build or start creating, designing your reports. Definitely one of the greatest addition is this GL formula that is inserted into the Excel. That's the base, or that's the core of the F9 actually. So let me show you an example of how this looks like once you have F9 installed in your computer. So these functions, you can see the ribbon on top has changed slightly. It's no longer the same one as the version 5. It's I would say it's more handy than before, and it works faster. So you set your parameters to the right, you get the balance to confirm that's what you wanted, and then if you click on Insert GL, you have your formula already built right there. So you don't have to design this and memorize each one of the steps, each one of the parameters, because it's a formula. Therefore, you have to follow some parameters. The easiness to continue building multiple columns and just replicate the same formula for all of them it continues to be there. Just a quick example of the basics. I will walk you through a more higher level usage of the system in just a moment. This is one of the new ones, the drop downs. So the drop down allows you to select a specific value on the left, and once you get that information in, you can actually drag and drop this drop down, I mean this field, onto your report. There you go. So this drop down is a very nice feature if you continue adding, oh, you forgot some accounts, then you go to the drop down and continue dropping them down into your report. As soon as you replicate, you can see the range selection on the calculate area. You don't have to run it all. Maybe on a specific filter, and that's it. One of the example is that basic for the GL function. Let me show you another one. The drop down. So instead of starting with the GL trend, it's the other way around. We are using the drop down to start building our report. So we want balances, we want company, we want currencies. You can put the controls on top or on the side, and then continue dropping and designing just by that, by moving the values or the parameters as if they were cards on your screen to have a better designing. There you go. And of course, at the end, we have to add the values to it. Another example of the new features, the wizard is being there. It looks pretty much the same, except that I see it more fast. It's faster in this version 6. So let's say you're not familiar with F9 at all. So you have it installed and you receive just the documentation for it. You can still use it. It's very simple. It comes with this report wizard that walks you step by step. First of all, what is your database? Then the company. Then based on the chart of accounts, you select some of them. You have the chance to combine some of them to build a new set. So these 3 rows could be renamed or change that for a different label. Like I want these 3 accounts to be cash instead. So next time you can continue using that set instead of having to pull each one of the accounts. Now you can use the set instead. Continue adding more accounts. maybe a subtotal, and then maybe more accounts, and finally a total at the end of it. The next step will be to provide what the periods will be. So you have the list of periods. This list, let me tell you, this is long. January, February, March. You have month 2, month 2, month 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have change, and then you have year to date. The list is really big, so just make sure you're selecting the value you really want to have, and apply some design at the end. Perfect. So that's your new report with some design applicable. You can still switch the parameters given in row 10 for the periods. Maybe you can switch these to starting in July or something like that, or change the year. The system will continue to work just by changing the parameters. And then, of course, don't forget to refresh the worksheet in this case. I would like to show you some samples of once you get familiar with F9 and you start producing your reports, you can focus on important data that is no longer a hassle on building the report, but now we can focus on the values that the system is extracting for us. Put some bars on top. You can make data analysis like this comparison bars by product sales. I include some slicers that can include or exclude some data from these bars information. Expense analysis with controls on the right as well. Some enhancements like the one we just showed, the F9 listing will allow you to have drop downs or insert GL transaction function. And this is scheduling hub. So this functionality allows you to not only produce reports, but also deliver them, add passwords, secure the information by company. It runs out of Excel. You don't have to use a separate application to run this. It's just Excel. So maybe a quick let's take a glance on this scheduling hub. The interface looks slightly different. Of course, it's a screen where you have to add your reports, the reports you have built, and you put them into your report listing. Then you have to indicate what is the email distribution list, and finally what the output will be. The output will be, and schedule the report to be generated and delivered at a certain date and time during the month end or after the month end, of course. Some reports can go to the corporate, some reports can go to the controllers, other ones to the managers. I mean, it depends on who's reviewing the information, of course. This tool in the background allows you to determine which reports will be, what the output will be, and the schedule to be generated. There's a quick comparison for the task scheduler we had in version 5 versus the scheduling hub on the server now. So you didn't have filtering, hierarchies, trees to publish those reports. Publish to viewer, meaning no longer need to have a builder or viewer report writer license. Instead, you can have a viewer license. So you will get the viewer report and you can still navigate through it. You can add password protection and the task can be generated by folder or tabs. F9 definitely is a great complement to EGL to produce the best financial statements. And this is where my presentation about enterprise financial ends. So I'm going to hand it over back to Scott.
Thank you, Joel. That was great. As you shared, Infor Enterprise Financials and F9, it moves the needle for companies wanting to streamline and automate their accounting processes and reporting needs. Well done, Joel. So how does Design Group help you get started? Well, for starters, we have many years of experience working with manufacturing companies like yours, including our own parent company, Barry Waymiller. And we have built a talented team of professionals surrounding Joel, spanning your needs, whether it be implementation planning, implementation services, education and training, or ongoing support focused on business process continuous improvement. With all this said, we understand that you may already have an Infor business partner, or you might be Infor direct. In either case, Design Group will be happy to collaborate with your trusted partners to help you achieve your business goals. We can be reached at info@bwdesigngroup.com. So before we open it up for some questions, I do want to mention that we are planning a follow-up webinar with focus on F9 capabilities. Joel really just scratched the surface. So stay tuned, and we look forward for that invite from Barry Waymuller Design Group. So now let's open it up for some questions. There's a lot of questions here, Joel. A lot on EGL. Let's start with this one. Does the Enterprise GL still use the GL interfaces for IM, and COM?
Yes, it is now optional. The answer is yes. You can continue to use the exact same interface, but now that we have re-engineered our chart of accounts, you will have to decide to pick one of the unit or nature or the account given on the interface, because the interface is just giving you 1 or 2 dimensions. So if you want to build something different, we will have to grab information somewhere else. So the answer is yes, but it's optional. You can actually skip to use the interface now and read the information directly from the source, meaning your invoice or your item receipt.
Great, thanks. Here's another one. Can a journal entry be moved to a different month if it is posted incorrectly?
No, but there is a nice feature called void. So you highlight your journal, make a right click, and then select maintain void. And then automatically that gets, I wouldn't say deleted, but cancel it off your accounting balances. And then you make another right click and say copy. Sorry, my mistake. There is no copy function to generate that way. So then you have the ability to upload a new one into the new period. Yes.
Okay, good. Will EGL handle a 445 accounting system? A 445 accounting system?
Absolutely. The financial calendar gives you the chance to determine what's the beginning date and the end date.
Great. Here's a question. Here's one that's, so I'm surprised this one took a while. Here we go. Do I have to pay for e-financials? Do I have to pay for e-financials?
Well, Enterprise Financials has effectively been in the flex upgrade since the beginning. Enterprise Financials is entitled with IFM. And all except very few flex customers have IFM already entitled. When a customer downloads F9, 9.2 version of Infor or VOP, Enterprise Financial is in the deliverable, meaning the programs are already there. We just need to work on the activation side, which is nothing but a license key with that is delivered with IFM keys. It's just a switch that you have to turn on, but the programs are already there.
Great. And this one's somewhat of a related question here. So the question is, we are planning to move from 9.1 to 9.2 middle of this year. Should we wait until we open 9.2 prior to running the migration wizard?
No need to wait.
Okay.
I mean, you can start working on it and have it implemented in 9.1. Definitely 9.2 will get a lot of upgrades to the system, but the answer is no, you don't have to wait. You can work right away.
Great. Let's move to just 1 or 2 F9 questions and we'll wind it down. F9, what does the drill down retrieve?
It brings to the screen the journals that accumulated into that specific balance you are drilling down to. So if you're on the screen and you highlight or select on a specific cell that gives you an amount, then you have a drill down button on top that will open another screen from where you can drill the information. And now that it's on the screen, you decide whether or not to copy and put it in your report statement or not. In other words, it's like an inquiry screen that if you decide there's a button copy, that allows you to take that information out of the window and put that into your Excel spreadsheet. In other words, if there are 100 rows of information that accumulate into that balance, the drill down capability gives you that transaction information for each one of those 100 rows.
Great. And last question here, does F9 work for AM and IFM?
Absolutely, yes. Same functionality is available for AM as well as for IFM.
Great, Joel. So there's a couple of questions that I didn't bring up. Some of them were very specific, Joel. So we'll take a look at those questions. We know who asked the questions, and we'll certainly follow up following the event today. So, but thanks for all your questions. Really appreciate it, Joel. Again, great job. So this concludes today's webinar, Infor XA, Enterprise Financials, and Financial Reporting 9. This session was recorded. We will email the recording link to all our registrants, and it will be posted on the Barry Waymuller Design Group YouTube channel. I'd like to thank our presenters and panelists for making this an informative webinar, and thanks to our audience for participating in today's session. We hope you found today's event valuable and that you will return for future Infor and Barry Waymuller Design Group hosted webinars. Thank you.